Hello, welcome to Mornings with Michael. This is the weekend update. We're going to show you that the week that was, where we're headed next week, and some economic impacts that could affect the market. So there we have it. Let's spring into action and share our screen. First, we're going to go take a look at some of the things that happened last week. Before we do that, share some of our windows here. There we go. Let's look at the S&P 500 heat map. This is what happened last week on Friday. Microsoft was up, some tech was up. Apple and Google were down, Amazon was down, some energy was down, healthcare, kind of a mixed bag. Financials are up. Tesla was down 2%. McDonald's was up a little over 2%. Utilities continue to, some of them are mixed bag, but they seem to shine overall. And real estate is down with the bond prices jumping. So that is a story there. We continue to roll over. People are concerned about the possibility of a hard landing. This is what they're looking at. They've saved over a number of years. They do not want it to turn into 2008, where things went down 54%. So they put it in an annuity, no risk of loss. It can still be involved in the market. When the market goes up, they go up a stair, go up another stair, and go up another stair, where indexes bob and weave to the market. And this type of investing beats index investing by about 5%. And currently, some of these annuities are offering 30 to 45% bonuses. So if you put in 100,000 day one, you'll have 145,000 if you get a 45% bonus. So that is how that works. If you want more information, feel free to reach out to us. So let's go to our charts. I'll see how the dollar fared, some of these things, and then we'll go to our PowerPoint. Samsara was one of the breaking out stocks. It looks like it touched a breakout and pulled back. We're look at that among others when we return to the charts. But let's look at the dollar. Dollar was up slightly. Move my picture. Up 14 cents. Silver pulling back a little bit. Gold gapping up nearly 1%. Arrow, our copper mining, moved up and then pulled back, down 1.33%. Southern Copper gapping up, held the gap. Take a look at our copper index, gapping up. Freeport-McMoRan, got a gap up there. Vale tried to move higher and then sold off to its 50-day moving average. Rio, another UK company that works mainly in South America, tried to move higher and pull back. Finally, BHP tried to move higher, was up slightly. So that is where that left. And let's go to the bonds. Bond yields jumping up to 4.5% on the 10-year. And that is 20-year up nearly 1%. Go take a look at some of the subcomponents of the S&P 500. Financials continue to be strong. Energy pulling back. Have a big cup here. See if they're going to be working on a handle. Real estate pulling back slightly. Home builders pretty flat. both of those are going to be effective if the bond yields continue higher. Communications, where Google and Meta are. Meta keeps getting stronger after they had their big sell-off on earnings, up to 476, whereas Google got a little bit of a pullback. We got our software, didn't really go anywhere. Technology, holding kind of gapped up above the 50-day. Infrastructure looks like it's working on a nice cup with, we'll see if it turns into a handle, but right now it's a pretty nice cup formation. Semiconductors gapped up. We've got leisure activities are pretty flat. Metals and mining tried to move higher and pulled back. Do we have, look at our FANG, and it looks like it's working on a handle. So that's that. Let's move on to a PowerPoint presentation. A little shorter issue this week. Go up to the word of the day. Word of the day is corrigendum, a thing to be corrected, typically an error in a printed book. The small typo didn't merit a correction after the draft had been sent to the printer, but the newspaper still received emails pointing out the corrigendum. That's our word of the day. And now we go on to fast food price inflation. A lot of this is being hit, especially with the $20 minimum wage in California. So, and there's an interesting new law that they cannot list junk fees. So in order to cover health insurance and such, which are demanded, especially in San Francisco, they're having to raise prices even more. It just will not be listed as a junk fee. So that is a story. California restaurants are closing over the $20 wage increase. Number of pizza joints actually left the state earlier, and other restaurants are deciding to move on. Forget the soft landing. This is going to be a crash landing. All the data says the economy is strong, except Starbucks fell 20% after a 6% drop in traffic. Uber fell 10% after reporting a net loss. Shopify fell 20% after issuing weak guidance. Netflix fell 10% after reporting weaker outlook for Q3. DoorDash fell 15% after reporting a $21 million loss. CVS Pharmacy fell 17% after a net income fell by 50%. Etsy stock fell 11% after reporting weak earnings due to macroeconomy. eBay stock fell 5% after reporting weaker guidance. Is the economy really that strong is a question. Now look at the office turmoil in New York City worsens ahead of a $1 trillion maturity wall. Here we got a brand new office building in the back, and because of remote work, who's going to move into it? We got diminished credit availability, challenges facing the $20 trillion commercial real estate market comes from New York City. This 25-story tower at the corner of Broadway and 40th Street in Midtown Manhattan has fallen into delinquent status. And billion-dollar real estate investor Barry Sternlicht says he expects at least one bank failure per week. Wow, that's a lot. Due to real estate loans, that's a fragile animal right now. So the World Health Organization, not the people who saying, feel me, I feel your heart beat. No, this is the World Health Organization is on the verge of passing its pandemic treaty. Yeah, your local government isn't going to be in charge, but the World Health Organization is. And then look at what the IMF is up to. International Monetary Fund, countries and regions, industries, nature and climate, they're deciding on all the future forest, ocean, climate crisis, you name it. They're going to be in charge. Taxes, not your local government, but the World Health Organization and the IMF. Now, these are the top 21 most consensus stocks. You can see a lot of money is being poured into these. And if they fall, what will happen? Will this be 2000 or 2008 all over again? Now, before we move on to the next one, sticky trades. You can follow what sticky trades does, and some of these forecasts are based on their outlook. They go down the list here, make an X whether it's bullish or bearish. Bearish engulfing, Harami, up down compared to the trend, 20-day SMA divergence, if it's too high above the SMA or too low, gap, stochastics, CCI, and roll reversal. So here we go. Got another look here. S&P 500 companies continue to outpace expectations. So this is, it's kind of confusing some people. All the data points to we should be in a recession, and some people think we already are. But these are some of the earnings surprises and the sales surprises. So we'll see if that continues. People who do not meet expectations, their stocks have been hammered. And so we have a little bit of a divergence going on. But here's the Dow Jones Industrial Average. What do we have going up here? This is either a spinning top or a doji. It's a doji, it's awaiting more information, whether you think it has filled the gap already or if it's going to go up slightly more and then turn tail. The volume right over here wasn't beating out the bullish volume over here. So yeah, we definitely need more information. Looks like it's starting to hook on the stochastics, and we definitely got a hook on the commodity channel index. So it's near a gap fill. Right now, the target is 379.61, a little bit of a pullback. So we got stale green light has ended. The selling hasn't outpaced the buying the day previous, but we got a hook, and if this stochastic passes the red, we definitely are into a bearish consideration here, and we got the hook on the commodity channel index. So our stochastics is almost crossing, like I said, and the target for this initial target is right here where the red line is, 198.95 to come near the moving average. And we have a gap down here, which we think it's going to be attracted to. And then it's a possibility to go slightly below the moving average at 194.59. So moving on to the NASDAQ. Once again, we got this doji, possibly a spinning top for a bearish signal. We need more information. So Monday, hopefully we'll provide that data, but there's gaps below the market, which will be a target down here near the moving average and down here even further. So we'll just have to see. It looks like the commodity channel index is hooking, and then we'll have to see if the stochastics actually passes this red line here. Moving on to the S&P 500. Once again, we got a doji or a spinning top, whichever your opinion would be. It looks like we have cleared a gap that was above here. We'll just have to see. There is overhead resistance up here. So target is to move back to this moving average. It's fairly well beyond this. So that is a thing to look out for as well when you get too extended above the moving average. And then we got two gaps down here that could be possibly filled. One here and one right over here, I believe. So that is that. Take a look at the VIX. We've got 8 red candles in a row. At some point, these end. CCI is trending up slightly. We'll see if the stochastics can cross the red line here into upward momentum. And if this moves up, this is definitely going to reverse the S&P 500. So that's our look at our PowerPoint for this weekend. Let's go back and share our screen. Go take a look at what stocks broke out on Friday. First one on the list is Arista Networks. Now we didn't look at we had two pictures actually. Let me bring those up. I forgot to add those. Let me pause. Sorry about that. I missed those 2 slides. So let me go back to slide share here. Just take a look at them. Stanley Druckenmiller is a pretty big hedge manager. Sold 30% of his NVIDIA stake, says he could see ANI stocks dropping 80%, much like what happened in 2000. 2000, Nortel and Cisco collapsed in the 2000 dot-com bubble. Nortel used vendor financing where they loaned money to customers so they would buy their products. This is not exactly what NVIDIA is doing right now, but if we take a look at the chart, series of fan lines are what investors use. Once a fan line is broken, many times this starts to move down to the next fan line. If that breaks, it just continues the process. The widest price divergent from the simple moving average ever. You can see right up here, volume is dropping. A stochastic triggered a sell signal right here across the red line here. CCI is about to trigger a sell signal, and a Fibonacci 50% retracement is likely. So take a look at your investment in NVIDIA and see if you, like Stanley Druckenmiller, want to take a portion of your stocks off the table. Their earnings are coming up soon, so we'll just see how that all plays out. So let's go back to our charts. We looked at ANET. I'll stop the share. I did the wrong symbol. Here we go. So here's ANET. Hold this back so we can see the volume. Earnings came in at $1.99, up 39%. Arista Networks is in the AI section. They produce for next-gen data centers, hardware, internet, cloud. So earnings were up. Stock was up 6%, 101% increase in volume right over here. 2 days before, the volume was even higher, but maybe somebody knew something. FICO, Fair Isaacs, breaking out, huge volume over here. Earnings looks like maybe a week or so ago, April 25th, we're up 28%. Stock was up 3.25%, $41 move. Taiwan Semiconductor is moving up. That's why NVIDIA had moved up some, because they're a big client of Taiwan Semiconductor. Gap up to the breakout, up 4.5%. and we got a huge volume increase. Volume was up 44%, crossing the average volume. Next on our list, we got Costco wholesale. People are trying to beat inflation. They're shopping at Costco. And it was up 1%. The volume was a little under what you'd like to see on a breakout, but it did break into the zone. We'll just see if volume picks up on Monday. Dutch Brothers. This is an issue that we talked about. We put it into our portfolio, put it over here on the day it beat earnings. I think we did it right after the earnings were announced. So that is continuing up. Got a gap up. Went past a few Dutch Brothers when we're working on our rehab out in the valley. And didn't matter what time of day we went there, but there was always a long line of cars. So people are, it almost reminded us of In-N-Out. So people are definitely gathering there to get their coffee or what other flavored drink that they have available. C&O Financial Group looks like they're getting ready for a breakout, long consolidation. We had an option on this last year and it just did not move higher. Thought it was going to, and just got off of our radar. And it is gone into a consolidation here, and it is moving up. Their earnings came in at nearly 1,000% increase at $1 per share. Not sure if we looked at this one the other day, but also in insurance. Got Manulife Financial, broke out earlier in the week, up 19%. Earnings were up 19%. They came in at 94 cents. Look at all these blue bars over here, and it continues higher, up 1.25% on Friday. Continue with our list. Williams-Sonoma. Nice cup pattern. As we've noticed on other chart patterns, institutional ants showing institutional sponsorship coming at near the highs, and then the stock will roll over after that. It's pretty interesting. But now it's formed a nice cup pattern. Whether it forms a handle over here, that's yet to be determined. The volume hasn't been that great, hasn't been above the average daily volume yet, but maybe the volume will pick up next week. 518 home furnishing and accessory stores in 40 states, including DC, Puerto Rico, Canada, Australia, and the UK. Here's the stock that we had profiled a couple of quarters ago. We had bought the stock right before their earnings. We had a strong feeling it was going to break out, and it did. And then the next quarter, it missed its earnings estimate. So actually, this is where we bought right before the earnings jumped up, moved back and forth. And not sure if this is the earnings came down, but here it broke out, had a big pullback to 29.70, and now it's getting pretty close to breaking out. Touched into the pivot area and then pulled back on Friday. Volume was under the average daily volume, so volume needs to pick up here. Finally, Ritchie Brothers auction. So Ritchie Brothers over here had broken out. Their earnings ballooned up to 21%, went to 82 cents from 68. They just kind of been basing over here, had a big pullback here. This is kind of the Darvis square box we've talked about. Follow this green line. The line wants to keep moving. Crooked little box. As you see, it broke out above it, but it fell right back into the base here. So we're gonna have to see if it can get back into this above the perimeters of the box. It was up 4.87% on Friday, 160% increase in volume, and their earnings were up. Doesn't want to bring up the earnings, but they were up 58%. We did get the volume, but once again, it fell back into the box. Some of that may have been precipitated by bond yields. It'll bounce in the bond yields. You can see IWM pulling back because of that. See if it develops a handle. It can bounce back, but that is the story there. We did look at major indexes, but let's look at the equal weight. So this is the equal weight on the NASDAQ. Daily, got a little blue dot, so it's kind of a tight area. So it seems like it is getting support. I may have typed in the wrong symbol. It was EW, and this is the equal weight index as well. Bounced its head against a declining 50-day moving average. Volume was a little light. So let's go to the S&P 500 equal weight. That's moving up slightly. Some of the areas, I believe it's NTR. I gave up on this little too soon. At option 55, I believe. Fell down to 51.95. I decided to close it out, and then look what we got here. I know the story that they were going to be buying back the shares. The earnings came down 59%. That is with NTR. The RMD we added to one of our portfolios. We've got a pretty long base here. Pulled back, tried to break out, and then pulled back. Just like this yield. Yield is 16%. GOGL. I think this is in the Baltic shipping area. Earnings are projected to be up 161%. They were below $10 here, and then they broke out, kind of went sideways, and then they really moved up. Pulled back here, looks like a cup with a handle, and broke out right here. Had some pretty good volume on Friday as it continues to move up. We added Frontline right over here, and Frontline is moving up, broke out here, and is above the buy zone. Earnings for 19 days, they're up almost 2% on Friday. Let's see what the other EG, Dorian LPG, looks like they broke out of a cup with a handle here, small handle, and is pulling back here a little bit. This is some volatility into it. A-Lab is an IPO. Not sure if this is a cup with a handle, but we'll continue to watch this one in the semiconductor area. Arrow Environment, Drone Maker. We put them on, put on an option over here, and it was too expensive to convert the option, so we just decided to go out and buy 50 shares. Also in the same area. Howmet Aerospace, put that gap up and just keeps on moving higher. And the other one that we bought at the same time, FTAI Aviation. I think we bought here on either on this day or on this gap up here. It's holding the gap up, and we'll see if it can move above 80. Elf, Beauty, not sure which, if it knows where it wants to go, pulls back, bounces up, pulls back again. Let's see if we do have Bitcoin over the weekend on our charts here. Try to bring it up. It was below 60,000. It got up close to 62,000 as we see right here. And right over here. Got up to 61,686 and now it's sold off. It is in a kind of a basing area. Let's take a look at Ethereum. It's fallen below 3,000 down to 2880. Just not sure if this is going to get approval for the ETF. So we'll continue watching those. Not sure if I shared those or not. Let me go back here and share. Once again, there's a Bitcoin chart. Let's go back to our previous screen. I've been doing a couple of options on this. I'm kind of surprised this had pulled back pretty strong. So is this a bottoming base? Moved up pretty strong here on earnings. Earnings were up 6%. And it continues up higher. On Friday, it was up over 6%. So we're in the money on the one option that we bought when it went down to 59 at 62.50. Then we have another one at 70. So we'll see if it can get above its 50-day moving average here. TOST is another issue that we're trading. We had a big gap up on earnings, and it's definitely holding this gap here. Look at all this volume down here. Got a huge cup with handle. Look at that big consolidation. So we bought right before the earnings, right over here. Last period, moved up, and it's just continued moving up. Talked to a lot of food trucks and restaurants. They're using TOST. Big issue that we continue to hold is Kava. We've talked a number of times where we bought this, bought it 31, sold it at 49, bought it back at 49. It's just been riding up and up. So with the other restaurants coming out with surprising earnings results, this is getting pretty good institutional sponsorship. Here's NVIDIA, pull back to 756. We'll just see how it reacts on the day it's supposed to report earnings and see if we want to hold it. But that's kind of the story with NVIDIA. And see if there's anything else. Yes, we have Lyft. Lyft continues to lift off while Uber had a little bit of a problem. Reported their earnings up 114%. Moved up above the 50 and now they're pulling back slightly to the 20. Let's look at DNN, Denison Mines. Holding in this consolidation. Tried to do a cup with a handle here. Tried to move higher and it's just consolidating here. We believe we have 2,500 shares of this one. And then we shorted the July 250 call option, bring a little cash. So that's what we're doing there. And that is our report for the weekend. Mornings with Michael. This is our weekend update. Keep going after your goals and your activities. Hope everyone out there had a great Mother's Day. We definitely had a great Mother's Day here. Talked to my mother, my wife. We went out and treated them. So that is the story. Hope everybody gets back to work and puts in their best effort next week. And we'll catch up with you on Monday. Have a great weekend.